Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video I'm going to be talking about why I'm switching to Yao on all big cubes. And I know this is quite the change for a lot of the stuff I've been advocating on this channel with respect to reduction on big cubes. So let's get right into why I'm doing this. You can follow along with the video chapters in this video, just in case you want to skip to any part, but yes, let's get into this. So for those of you that aren't aware, Yao is a method where on 4x4 it's more common to do Yao for everything. So Yao is a method where you solve the first two centers, so there will be your cross centers and like that. And then you solve the first three cross edges, so that would be something that, oh, this is such a bad solve, but I'm behind the camera. Anyway, so the first three cross edges, and then you would solve the last four centers like that, and then you would solve the last cross edge like that. And then what you would do is so basically your cross is done and you have the remaining 8 edges to pair up. So in this case I would just look for the edges that I need to pair up and line them up and pair them. So I paired 3 of them there, and then I would just continue. So the point of Yao is that it really speeds up your reduction process by solving the cross. So like essentially, actually I shouldn't say it speeds up the reduction process, it kind of speeds up the rest of your solve, because now the cross is just solved once you reach 3x3 stage. So yeah, that's basically an overview of the method. And in case you're not very familiar with the method, let me know, I'll make a tutorial. I messed up that up right now. Okay. In case you're not overly familiar with the method, let me know and I'll make a tutorial on it. So yes, that's the Yao method. Now let's get into why I really am pursuing this method for the other big cubes, or the real big cubes. Okay, so why have I switched to Yao? Well, first things first, I really see the point of Yao in that it really speeds up the last part of your solve. And additionally, once you finish your first 3 cross edges, you basically have once you finish the first 4 centers, really, you basically have very few places on the cube that you really need to look at, because the bottom of your cube is just solved, right? The cross edges is solved. So that really improves the scope for look ahead in that stage of the process, so your last 8 edges essentially. And I think that is really worth it when it comes to comparing it to reduction, where you have to look at all the spots on the cube, right? So in that sense, I think Yao is really kind of taking over my intuition of big cubes, and I didn't expect it to happen. Like, I'll be honest with you, I thought I was a reduction geek forever, but after looking at especially at Decalb Cubing Falls, which was like 2 weeks ago, and I made a video about that, you should check it out, it'll be up here now. Especially after that competition and watching people like Henry Litzner and just in general, just watching how Yao is just being a lot more efficient with the solve and leaving a lot more scope for improvement, I think that just led me to believe that I need to switch. And well, I did switch, and we're going to look at a few clips of my switch, which I did live on stream. In fact, I think it was last night. So I'll leave a few clips of that maybe at some points in this video, which you can find in the video chapters. So yeah, I feel like Yao for big cubes, it's like it's not necessary to switch to it, but I feel, with me at least, I couldn't really find areas where I could improve with reduction. I felt like I'd kind of saturated my scope with reduction. So yeah, that's why I switched to Yao, and so far it's been a fun journey, I will say. Like, it isn't all smooth, of course, because you really have to get used to the finger tricks of especially the stage with the first 3 cross edges for bigger cubes. And on 7x7, that stage is just so hard to get used to initially. But what happens is it kind of becomes muscle memory, right? Just like anything with to do with cubing. And once it becomes muscle memory, I think that's when you realize, okay, this switch is actually going to be worth it, because it just works. Like, that's the thing. And with Yao, I really feel at comfort with this stage, the last 8 edges, wherein look ahead becomes so much easier, and I can literally solve multiple pairs just without barely rotating the cube, right? So that's all 4 of the top edges done with barely any rotations. And I really feel like this is an important part of this step. So it really brings, of course, the last 4 edges are kind of a little more tricky, because you can't mess things up. But I really feel like this brings the method to life. And like, see, once I'm done with reduction, the cross is just done, right? So I know I'm kind of just listing out the features of Yao here, but I really feel like that has helped me speed up my solves in general. And the moment I switched to Yao, it did take me a while to get to like a good speed on all the cubes. But with 5x5, it took me like a week or so to get to my normal speed. However, with 6 and 7, I think it's going to be a bit faster, because it's just an extension of these concepts, and it just comes down to like the right finger tricks and the right control of the various layers in the cube. So that being said, I will say that reduction does have one advantage, which is just the freedom of turning. But I will also say that Yao does not necessarily make that a disadvantage with its own execution, because once you get used to the turning, once you get used to making those 3 cross edges and preserving them on the left, I think the turning just becomes second nature, just like with reduction. And you get a different sense of freedom in that once you finish your four, like your last cross edge, you just have like the remaining 8 edges all in front of you and nothing's below. So I think that compensates for it. And yeah, well, now let's get into some lore. So in the past, I've always been like, reduction OP, reduction's the best, people that do Yao suck. And of course, that's a joke. Like, don't cancel me, it's just, of course it's a joke. And because like, at the end of the day, if you're good with a method, you're good with it. Like, it does not matter what method you use. Even if you use Hoya and you're good, like, who can tell you wrong, right? So yeah, I mean, of course, I'm just saying, like, I used to love reduction, and I used to have a lot of banter with my friends about reduction versus Yao. But I think it's safe to say that Yao is the more efficient method, but it's not necessarily the fastest method, right? Because Max Park is still amazing with reduction, and he does such crazy solves with reduction. He has all the world records for the big cubes, and that's reduction. So yeah, I mean, no doubt. Of course, 4x4 is always going to be Yao, because it's just small enough, right? It's not really a big cube. But yeah, with these other cubes, I think Yao definitely has a little more potential. And now we see, right, that the top few solvers in each of these categories across the world are switching to Yao slowly, which kind of makes sense. At the end of the day, that is the method with slightly more scope for improvement. And yeah, the lore is basically me just not wanting to switch to Yao. And a couple of my friends who do Yao, they kind of got good at it, and one of them got really good at it, and he's like, sub 1 on 5x5 basically, and like getting close to sub 2 and 3 on these cubes. So I always felt like reduction would be a faster way to get there, but clearly I was incorrect. I think for me, at least, with my turning style and with my, I wouldn't say lack of TPS, but in general, I don't turn as fast as like the usual cuber at my speed, so I feel like Yao is good for me in that sense. And I do need to work on my look ahead during the first 3 cross edges, but then that's just because I've just transitioned to Yao, as we will see in the solves that I'll be showing you that I did on stream. And yeah, I think overall I'm happy about switching to Yao. Of course, I have a competition in about 13 days, which has 6 and 7, so like maybe not the best time to switch to Yao, but it had to be done. I think I would always have the excuse to say that, oh no, there's a comp here and I don't want to switch, but I really don't want to make those excuses. I think this is the right thing to do for me. And yeah, I think I don't know what I'm going to title this video, but in case I title it Yao greater than Redux, well, yeah, I can't believe I would be saying, I could never have thought I'd be saying this, honestly. I can't believe I'm saying it now, but yeah, Yao might be greater than Redux. Of course, there are arguments to be made for both sides, but in terms of improvement scope, I think it's a clear winner with Yao. And I really hope that there's people. Honestly, I want to make this like a healthy debate, not an argument, of course, just a debate about what the pros and cons of each method are. And let's just see what you guys think. So please leave your comments down below. Let's make this like an engaging discussion. And yeah, I think that's all for me talking about why I'm switching to Yao. At the end of the day, Yao OP, yeah. Oh man, I can't believe I'm saying all this. Anyway, hopefully you haven't made it this far in the video and you did not hear me say that, but yes, I'm using Yao on big cubes now. I will be uploading a few solves to the channel apart from the ones I'm going to show you after this rant. So yes, make sure to tune into those as well. And yeah, that's it for this video. Let me know what you think. Do you use Yao? Do you use Redux? Do you use Hoya? Do you use a sledgehammer? Like, let me know. No pun intended, but anyway. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned to the channel. A lot more interesting content coming up. Take care and peace.
Let's go.